Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, I assume that you guys know the Dark Knight Trilogy is one of the best trilogies of all time, so I'm just going to be reacting to some hot takes I found about it online. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. Alright, first one. Begins is the best of the three. Rises is not bad at all, and TDK is somehow both spectacular yet extremely overrated. First was great, second was the Heath show with a sprinkling of Batman, third was out of steam. Now, here's what I think about this. I think the Dark Knight is the best one, then Begins is the second best, and then obviously Rises is the weakest of the three, but they're still all great movies. I was very entertained by all of them. I'm not going to try to force you to believe that the Dark Knight is the best. As long as you like all three movies, I'm fine. As for the third one being out of steam, I can see where you're coming from, but at the same time, I was still entertained. That's all that matters at the end of the day. Next, the suit was absolutely horrible and the voice was even more atrocious. Okay, for the suits, there were two suits from my memory. So, the very first suit used in Batman Begins looked like shit to me, I'm not gonna lie. But hey, that was kind of the point. It was woven into the story. He actually needed to upgrade his suits. I like how they did it. The suits used in The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, to me, actually looks very, very good. In my opinion, I think the only Batman suits of all time to ever be better than that suit is the one used in the Batman 2022 and the one that Ben Affleck's Batman used. I don't think that the suit is shit. As for his voice, I can understand why you don't like that. Personally, I always believe that Batman is supposed to have a different voice from Bruce, so it will make it easier for him to hide his identity. But yeah, the voice itself. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it can sound a little bit goofy. I didn't always really mind the voice. I just kind of got used to it. Next, Bale wasn't very good as either Batman or Bruce Wayne, but those are the three best Batman movies. Also, the quality goes in release order from best to worst. What? Okay, see, I can understand if you don't think he's a very good Batman, but he's literally one of the best, if not the best Bruce Waynes out there. His first movie alone proves that. He simply is, and I will not tolerate that slander here, man. Come on. This is a subjective take now. I prefer the Bruce Wayne side more than the Batman side, and those three movies gave me exactly that. In fact, it was even in the second movie where they tried to, incorporate Batman more into the story. Or basically speaking, Bruce was the front and center of the story, and I enjoyed it very much. He was an excellent Bruce Wayne, and if you think otherwise, I don't know what to tell you. Next, look, I'm a simple man, and Hathaway as Selina elevates TDKR over TDK. Well, I can't say I blame you though, but I don't think her presence alone just elevates an entire movie. But hey, do you, I guess. Next, The Dark Knight Rises is better the more you watch it. The other two are just fantastic. As much as I love The Dark Knight Rises, heck, when I was even younger, Bane alone was probably the reason why that movie was my favorite out of the trilogy. But then as I got older, I just started noticing more plot holes in the plots. For example, how Bruce was able to get back to Gotham despite the whole point of Bane's plan being that nobody was supposed to get in or out, not even the military. That's just one of the few plot holes in the movie. But hey, those few plot holes didn't just totally destroy the movie for me. I'm not going to blow them out of proportion. Anything made by man is not perfect, even movies. I still enjoyed it at the end of the day. Obviously, Batman Begins is excellent, and well, The Dark Knight is something else. Next, Bane's plan in The Dark Knight Rises makes absolutely no sense. He can blow up the city at any time he wants. He says that the reason he would rather wait for the bomb to blow up on its own is that it will give the people hope that they will be saved somehow, and that will cause them greater despair when they are not saved and the bomb does blow up. But the bomb blowing up would kill them instantly, so when will they feel despair? They will just feel hope right up to the point when the bomb explodes and then die in an instant before they even had time to realize that it's too late for them to be saved. Now, from what I remember in the movie, I think Bane wanted to give the people a chance to destroy themselves from the inside first before he blew up the city, as some kind of experiment or something. But yes, you are right in the sense that the bomb would kill them instantly. So the despair that they would feel would be very, very short-lived. So I understand where you're coming from here. Next, Batman Begins is the only good Batman movie in the trilogy. The Dark Knight is a really good movie, but Bruce Wayne spending the whole movie trying to pawn off Batman on someone else so he can have a girlfriend is the worst on-screen take of Batman to date. Rise is a bad take on Batman the character, but that's okay because he's barely in it. Now, I love Batman Begins, but it's not the only good movie. All of them are good, as I've already said. As for Bruce Wayne trying to pawn off Batman to someone else, the thing is, at that point in time, they had already taken care of most of the criminals in Gotham. The only person that was really left was Joker. So I can understand him wanting to retire. No one realistically wants to do that for too long. Even in the comics, Bruce doesn't always love doing what he does, but he realizes that he needs to do it for the sake of the city. So in The Dark Knight, he didn't exactly give up on being Batman now, did he? He literally even took the blame on killing Harvey Dent on himself for the sake of the city's ideals. And him wanting to have a personal life outside of being Batman is totally valid. As for the third movie, Batman is not actually in it that much, but I guess that was just the way that the plot was. Again, I don't see that as a flaw. After all, I always prefer Bruce Wayne stories to Batman shenanigans anyway, so I didn't really mind that. But if somehow you wanted to see the Batman character throughout the movie, then, well, you're going to be kind of disappointed. But even then, he wasn't really done badly. He was able to successfully save some of the people that Bane and his group kidnapped at the beginning of the movie. Yes, he lost to Bane in the first encounter, but that's usually how it goes anyway. And then when he came back, he successfully saved Gotham City and defeated Bane. I don't think he was done that badly. Next, The Dark Knight gets so much love just because Heath died. Kind of like how The Crow got such a fandom despite being a pretty bad movie. My hot take, the whole trilogy is wildly overrated, in part because of the untimely death of Heath Ledger. Christopher Nolan is the Joe Rogan of filmmakers, his art for dumb jocks. As someone who watched these movies long before I even knew that Heath Ledger died, I can confidently tell you that you are very, very wrong. Those movies are great, regardless of whether he was alive or not by the time it's released. And if you are the one that chooses to focus on the fact that he died and therefore watch a movie because of that, that's on you. That doesn't take away the quality of the movies. The Dark Knight was a fantastic movie, whether you like it or not. As for Christopher Nolan being the Joe Rogan of filmmakers, oh, okay, bro. See, me myself, I'm no Christopher Nolan cultist or anything, but he's a pretty damn good director. And if you think that you're somehow smarter than the rest of the people that like him just because you don't, then you're very narcissistic in my opinion. And whether you like it or not, he's still one of the best directors till today. Heck, his name even being in a movie can be a selling point for some people. Are all of those people dumb jokes now? Next, the Joker could have been subbed out for a number of villains plot-wise and you wouldn't notice a difference. This take is slightly retarded. Now, look, the one thing that people glaze about that movie is the Joker. The GOAT! I can accept any other form of criticism except this. You cannot look at the one thing, the very one thing that everybody glazes about this movie and then say he can be subbed out. Subbed out for who, my friend? Who? You can't replace the Joker in that movie. It's just not possible. And even if you do replace him, you will definitely notice that something is very, very wrong. So no, this is just a very bad take. One of the worst takes I've ever seen. Next, my biggest hot take is that The Dark Knight went about 40 minutes too long. I never liked the boat scene. It feels like it was just tacked on. All of that should have been taken out and it should have been both the Joker and Two-Face at the warehouse with Gordon's family, and we rocked a little bit. Okay, so basically speaking, you wanted a different movie. Too bad you didn't get that. I understand if you wanted Joker and Two-Face to team up, but the movie would have clearly needed a whole lot of reworking, not a little bit. And I feel like the boat scene was important because it proved that Joker's ideology was not always correct. That was literally the scene that defeated the villain of the movie. Whether you like it or not, villains always lose. That's how it works. So that scene was not tacked on, in my opinion. Next, The Dark Knight is awesome, but is a little overrated just for how over the top the praise is. The other two are underrated for how much nitpicky criticism they receive. I have to agree with you here, 100%. As much as I love The Dark Knight, yes, it can get a little bit overrated sometimes. That doesn't mean it's not awesome. Heck, I'll even say it now that The Dark Knight is one of the best movies of all time, but it is still overrated. I agree to an extent. As for the other two getting nitpicky criticism, yes, they do get nitpicky criticism. It's as if that people expect these movies to just be perfect. No, they don't need to be perfect. They just need to be good and entertaining, which they were. And heck, they were very, very, very good, despite all of the little things that people saw to complain about. So yes, I agree with this take. Next, Rises is worse than Batman and Robin. Fuck off. Next, I'm not sure if it's a hot take, but the plotting is overly convoluted in the second and third films. The action scenes have terrible, incomprehensible editing, and you have to swallow a lot of nonsense for films that purport to do Batman realistic. Example, Joker's ridiculous getting / out of jail sequence. The police all going into the sewer. Batman's recovery from his broken back, etc. From what I heard, Nolan tried to make it more realistic. That doesn't mean he made it 100% realistic. In movies in general, not just for this, a lot of things are done to make the film more dramatic, whether realistic or not. I do get where you're coming from here. The way that Joker got out of jail was kind of weird. And I didn't like how all of the police went into the sewers as well. I can accept Batman getting his back fixed though. It's Batman. Let's just chalk it up to that. But yes, I see where you're coming from. But at the same time, it's not that big a deal if you ask me. Next, Christopher Nolan fumbled Robin hard. Cillian Murphy's portrayal of Scarecrow gets overshadowed by Heath Ledger, but he absolutely slayed every scene he was in. Yes, I agree. When I found out that that dude in The Dark Knight Rises was supposed to be Robin, I was so fucking confused. Like, what the fuck? Even if they didn't want to make him Robin outright, they clearly wanted to make him a detective. Why didn't they just make him Tim Drake? Apart from the fact that Tim literally gets like almost no love compared to the other three. He literally fits his character. Tim, according to Bruce, has the potential to surpass him as being the world's greatest detective one day. Is his thing. Why didn't they just make it Tim? Yeah, that whole Robin thing came out of nowhere at the end, and I didn't like that as well. As for Scarecrow, yes, Cillian Murphy was fantastic, man. A role like that is really easy to mess up, but he just knew exactly how to do it. He wasn't too dramatic, he wasn't over the top, he was just right. Yes, a lot of things in the movies get overshadowed by Heath Ledger. Heck, even Harvey Dent got overshadowed by Heath Ledger, and I think he was a fantastic character. Well, yes, Scarecrow was fantastic, and Cillian Murphy, as usual, always delivers. Next, Band. I assume you mean Bane. He's a better and cooler villain than Joker. Dude had amazing moments. That "do you feel in charge" gave me goosebumps. His first encounter with Batman and his one-liners during the fights were fantastic.
Say that again?
Overall, Rise is the better movie. Fight me. The Joker's whole thing about winging it and not having a plan is bullshit. That's the most unplanned plan that's ever been planned. And so many plot points had to work exactly as he wanted them for him to succeed. And the only one that didn't was the boat one. As for Bane being a cooler villain than Joker, yes, I honestly do understand where you're coming from. When I was younger, I really liked Bane. Because apart from the fact that he was intelligent, he was actually physically strong. So he was intimidating. And yes, that "do you feel in charge" scene was fantastic as well. Now, I don't think Rises is the better movie, but if you like Rises because of Bane, I wouldn't argue with you. I don't like the way that he basically got sidelined by Talia of all f***ing people. Now, Joker telling Harvey Dent that he didn't have a plan, yes, that was bullshit. but that was a part of his plan. Everything that he did was planned. He just wanted to tell Harvey Dent that to try and, turn him to the dark side, and it worked. Next, Two-Face should have been a tease at the end of Dark Knight and being the main villain in 3. Batman has to somehow stop/redeem Harvey without the public finding out the truth. When they inevitably do find out, he and Gordon have to deal with the fallout. And as much as I love Harvey Dent, I don't think he's the type of villain that can work as a standalone villain. I think the way he was handled was fine. They still dealt with the fallout of people finding out about Harvey Dent during the 3rd movie anyway, so he was still done right. And by the way, I would way rather have Bane than have Harvey Dent, as much as I love Dent. Next, Dark Knight is the best depiction of Batman ever put to film. Well, you won't hear me arguing with you on that. I agree.
Yes, sir.
Next, the way the sequels both became kind of obsessed with the idea of Batman as the hero of Gotham needs, blah blah. Begins was more about Bruce Wayne and why he needs to be Batman. It's not who you are, but what you do that defines you, being the theme literally repeated at you. But the sequels were kind of worshipy, for lack of a better term, of the idea that Batman was this symbol of hope for the whole city, blah blah. I just find the first more entertaining. I can't say that you're wrong to find the first one more entertaining. Different people like different things. I also liked the theme of the first one as well. But, my guy, what do you expect? Batman is still a superhero, especially in a city that needs it most. And that symbol is supposed to have meaning and importance. Next, 1. Begins is the best film in the trilogy. 2. People who say TDK is the best film don't truly believe it, since Heath Ledger's Joker is the only thing they praise about the movie. 3. Christian Bale is a good Bruce Wayne, but his Batman is kind of lacking. 4. Fight scenes suck. 5. Bat voice sucks. 6. Bat suit sucks, both of them. Again, Begins is not the best in the trilogy, The Dark Knight, that's what I think. 2. I hate this statement so much. The way people keep saying this shit online and even in real life sometimes about Heath Ledger being the only good thing in the movie. That is just bullshit. First of all, even in the scenes that he's not in, they are still excellent. They are well acted, well shot, well directed, and they actually serve a purpose to the story. So an excellent story, might I add. Also, yes, Heath Ledger is the best thing about the movie. Why would you think that if you remove him, that the movie would be the same? That is not a criticism at all. Since when did it become a bad thing for a villain to be good? It's like trying to eat rice and stew without the rice. It doesn't work. Joker is necessary to the movie. That is not a flaw. As for your third point, I agree he's a fantastic Bruce Wayne and his Batman is a little bit kind of lacking, but I didn't mind at all. 4. Yes, I agree 100%. The fight scenes sucked. They sucked ass. Try. That's part of the reason why I don't always like these quote-unquote realistic takes. You reduce what kind of makes the character interesting at the end of the day. And in this case, it just happened to be the fight scenes, which I didn't really like. It pissed me off. It's still realistic to have a fantastic martial artist. I don't know why they just didn't do it with Bruce Wayne. I don't know if it is a flaw of the script writing or a flaw of the direction or choreography, but the fight scenes looks like shit. I'm not gonna lie. The only fight scene that I actually enjoyed a bit of the fights between Batman and Bane. The rest were either mid or ass. I've already handled your 5th and 6th points. I agree that the voice sucks a little bit, but the second suit didn't suck at all. Next, it's not that great. They are decent movies lifted up by great villains. Also, Nolan doesn't understand the core concept of Batman. As for your first point being lifted up by great villains, I see where you're coming from. I honestly believe that Batman is only as culturally relevant as he is because of the great villains that he has, and he has so many of them, so you keep on telling stories with each and every one of them. I'm not saying that Batman is a bad character, but his villains are fantastic. And they are the reasons why his stories exist in the first place. But the movies are still great movies. I don't know how you expect to have a superhero movie without a villain. If the villain is shit, then the movie is most likely going to be shit. But if the villain is great, then obviously they should lift up their movie. It's their job. Every character is supposed to add to the quality of the story. It's not a bad thing. As for Nolan not understanding the core concept of Batman, then tell me why The Dark Knight is still considered as the best superhero movie of all time. I don't think it's a coincidence. Yes, he might not have given you personally exactly what you wanted. Maybe you wanted more of Batman, which is valid honestly, but he still understood Batman well enough to make those movies as huge as they were. So I kind of disagree with your second point, and I see where you're coming from with your first point. Overall, nice take. I enjoyed it. Now, as for my hot take, the Dark Knight Trilogy is the second greatest trilogy in movie history, only behind The Lord of the Rings, and the margin is definitely not that wide. Heck, it's even my personal favorite, and the Dark Knight movie is my favorite movie personally of all time. I had a lot of fun making this video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Heck, you can even comment on what video I could do next. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Now, how do I end this video?